Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, the Justice Department launches its review of the controversial anti-terrorism bill amid public concerns and fear over the proposed act. Also, as the debate on the anti-terrorism bill rages on, netizens complain on the proliferation of fake Facebook accounts, worrying it could be used against them. And after failing to give the benefits to medical frontliners under the Bayanihan law, lawmakers renew their call for Health Secretary Francisco Duque to resign. Senator Panfilo, Ping Lacson joins us live. Calls are getting louder to scrap the controversial anti-terrorism bill. President Rodrigo Duterte had certified the bill as urgent, but some sectors say the bill may violate human rights. The bill was recently approved in the lower house, but some congressmen are withdrawing support for the measure. The Justice Department also reveals that it is now making a review of the controversial measure. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senator Panfilo, Ping Lacson. Senator Lacson, welcome to the show, sir. Good to hear you.
Yeah, Pinky, good morning.
All right, Senator, let's start with this. The junk terror bill, sir, anti-terrorism bill has been trending on social media. Were you surprised, sir, with the kind of opposition, concern, criticism it's been getting from lawmakers, from lawyers, from students, from artists, and other individuals?
I'm not surprised at all because we went through the same ordeal when I was sponsoring the national ID system or the PhilSys. There were so much arguments, so many arguments against the passage of that bill. But as time passed by, we realized that without a national ID system, we'll do more disservice than service to our country and our people.
You have been saying, sir, that there's a lot of disinformation on this anti-terrorist bill. Let me start with Section 4, and then I want to go, sir, to a part of Section 4 that also needs to be looked into. First is, of course, who can be tagged as terrorists. No, you have A, B, C, D, E, and let me just go on A, the first one, sir. Engages in acts intended to cause death or serious bodily injury to any person or endangers a person's life. Can you just explain this to us, sir?
Yes, that is as clear as it is written. No? But what the critics fail to include are the other portions of that particular section, such that meron diyang caveat when the purpose of such act, and any one of the enumerated five, yung definition of terrorism, when the purpose of such act, by its nature and context, is to intimidate the general public or a segment thereof, create an atmosphere or spread a message of fear, to provoke or influence by intimidation the government or any international organization, or seriously destabilize or destroy the fundamental political, economic, or social structures of the country, or create a public emergency or seriously undermine public safety. And then down below, there's another provision, provided that terrorism, as defined in this section, shall not,
as defined in this
and I would
section,
like to highlight the shall not include advocacy, protest, dissent. This is so provided in the Bill of Rights of the Philippine Constitution, 1987 Constitution, particularly Section 4.
I understand that, sir. Actually, that's where I was going to go. Kasi paminsan, sir, hindi na-highlight yung exemption. Basically, that's the exemption. I'm just going to read that. I hope we can put that up on the screen. Provided that terrorism, as defined in this section, shall not include, as you mentioned, sir, advocacy, protest, dissent, stoppage of work, industrial or mass action, and other similar exercises of civil, and political rights which are not intended to cause death or serious physical harm to a person, to endanger a person's life, or to create a serious risk to public safety. Okay, let me go there, sir. Here's my question on that. I want to give you an example, sir. What if there is a protest, which is supposed to be an exemption here? However, sir, it caused death or physical harm to a person or endanger a person's life or created a serious risk to public safety. Would that constitute an act of terrorism?
No, not at all. We will go back to the provision qualifying such act by its nature and context. We'll go back to the intent and purpose of the act of terrorism. A simple, protest action or speaking against the duly constituted authority or speaking against the government will not constitute. But, Pinky, we are trying to avoid the situation where a peaceful rally, is infiltrated by terrorists. And it will cause harm or death to not only to the institution or the critical infrastructure that we mentioned here, but to the same rallies, peaceful rallies. And if it is established that the intent and purpose by its nature and context talagang terrorism o terrorist act yung gagawin, then it could fall under this provision.
But that has to be proven, sir. Yung caveat na sinabi nyo in the beginning. Kailangan po nandun yun.
Yun ang basic
Of course.
requirement, yung intent and purpose. That has to be established.
Yeah, the intent and purpose. But sir, I guess I'm going to have to follow up on that. Intent and purpose, as you call it. But what if there is a rally, sir? And of course, the safeguard here for the rallies or the protesters, hindi siya ma-infiltrate ng mga terorista. Is there a situation, do you foresee a situation that the rallies or a leader, sir, a supposed leader of the rally, is branded as a terrorist? Pwede naman, pwede ho ba yun mangyari?
No, not at all. Because,
how so?
We're guided by the Bill of Rights, no? Yung no law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, at saka yung to peaceably assemble.
Right to assembly.
To air their grievances against the government. So papasok yun doon. But if the purpose, yung intent and purpose na iba na, because in-infiltrate para talaga magpasabog o kaya maghasik ng mga chemical substance, dangerous substance, ibang usapan yon. That is to be established.
Okay, that needs to be established. But what if a person or an individual, sir, is supposedly known, sir, as or suspected or branded as a person who is sympathetic to, for example, the left or the NPA, sir? Would that be an easy way to categorize the person wherein his intent and purpose was to create harm at maghasik ng gulo, sir?
No, not because if the rally is held peacefully, tapos legitimate yung or peaceful yung assembly, maski mayroong masaktan dyan, maski may ma-vandalize o may masira na mga infrastructure, kung ang intent and purpose is parang incidental lang dun yung pagkasira, doon sa ang purpose ay mag-air ng grievances, then it will not fall under this proposed measure.
Senator, sino ho ang magdidesisyon on the intent and purpose?
Well, eventually the court.
Where does that lie?
Sa court.
Bago po ang korte, sino?
Well, siyempre, yung law enforcement officer who will conduct the arrest. Kasi kasama rin dito sa warrantless arrest, which again, I will reiterate, na present din yung mga elements doon sa pag-commit ng any other crime, like physical injuries, o kaya simple theft, vandalism, pwede mag-arrest. So hindi lang naman dito lumabas yung provision sa warrantless arrest. It's been there, yung Rule 113 sa ating mga statutes. So hindi ito bago, Pinky.
Hindi ito bago. But the Anti-Terrorism
Council, check and balance,
sir,
Pinky, once the police officer brings the person for inquest, ang first stage is for the inquest prosecutor to determine kung merong basihan yung pagpapile ng kaso ng violation ng Anti-Terrorism Act, if he does not find any basis at all, then he will order the release of the person or further investigation or outright dismiss the case. And then after that, if the fiscal or the prosecutor finds probable cause, they will have to, or he will have to file the criminal complaint or yung tinatawag na information. And after that, the court will have to determine, magkakaroon pa ng judicial determination of probable cause before the court would issue a warrant of arrest. And then eventually, during the trial, it has to be proven beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah. I understand that, sir. Okay. Pero ito pong Anti-Terrorism Council, I wanted to clear this up with you, sir. Or before siguro we actually talk about that. Who determines, sir, first and foremost, that a person is a suspected terrorist? Sino ho ang magsasabi na ang isang tao ay isang suspect? Is it the ATC, sir, or the Anti-Terrorism Council?
No. Walang judicial and extra or quasi-judicial powers ang ATC under the proposed measure. Ang magdidetermine nun, yung nasa frontline, yung police officer. And if he wrongfully arrest a person on the basis of his, parang personal knowledge or opinion na violation ng Anti-Terrorism Act yung kanyang ginawa, yung Anti-Terrorism Council will still determine kung tama yung pagka-arrest. So, let's put it this way, Pinky, this is purely administrative. Okay. Suppose a police officer in a precinct, assigned in a precinct, arrests a person, a suspected terrorist. The chief PNP or the regional director can override him and tell him, you are not supposed to arrest that person because hindi yan papasok sa violation ng Anti-Terrorism Act. So you might as well release him. So kasi we are not giving full discretion to the police officer who conducts the arrest. Merong layers yan na pwede siyang i-override. Pero these are administrative acts, not judicial or quasi-judicial.
Okay. But in the meantime, sir, that the police, as you mentioned, as an example a while ago, effects the arrest on someone, this suspect will have to be detained, sir, for 14 days, extendable to another 10 days. So that individual can actually be detained for 24 days, sir, without a charge.
That is correct, Pinky. But remember, after the 14th day, or before the 14th day expires, the police officer will have to bring the arrested suspect before the judge and ask permission if he can be detained for another 10 days. If the judge, the nearest judge, does not give his permission, then either they file the charges or they release the suspect that they arrested.
The suspect. Okay, just a quick question, sir, before we go on a break. I guess there's...
Yeah, sige, go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, ang ginawa lang natin dito is we extended the reglementary period. Under the present rule, ang reglementary period,
3 days.
1.5 days, 36 hours eh. So why did we extend it? Kasi itong anti-terrorism, yung Terrorist Act, sui generis ito eh. It can be considered as a class of its own, dahil ang damage na nagagawa nito sa buhay at saka sa infrastructure, mas matindi kaysa other ordinary crimes. Now, we extended it because other jurisdictions have longer reglementary periods. Like Malaysia, for example, 59 to 2 years. Yung Indonesia, 21 days to 120 days. Yung Singapore, at saka yung Maldives, 730 days up to indefinite.
Yeah.
And so forth and so on. So we adopted the most lenient, yung Australia and Sri Lanka, na 14 days. Actually, during the public hearings, yung law enforcement agencies were requesting me as the chair to give them 30 days because sa tingin nila, that's enough, that's the time that they need to build up the case, to gather enough evidence to secure or ensure a conviction. But I did not allow them because sabi ko sa kanila, mahirapan ako i-depensa kung ganyan kahaba. So we adopted the Australian reglementary period of 14 days.
All right. The hashtag hands off our students trends online after reports of fake profiles of UP students surface on Facebook. We're going to ask Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson about this. We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Senator, I wanted to go back to what we were discussing off-air. So, ang pulis ang aaresto sa suspected terrorist. Okay. Tapos pwede niyang ma-detain ito ng 14 days. I guess the concern, sir, is the possibility of abusive policemen, number one. And number two would be, what happens during that 14-day detention? Pwedeng ba torture, o pwedeng saktan, i-torture ito pong suspect? What do you say to that, sir?
Well, pag tinorture, during the period of detention, yung reglementary period, they will have to be answerable or liable for violating the Anti-Torture Act. Kung pinatay, they will have to face murder charges while in detention. So, ang pag-usapan natin, Pinky, rito is implementation na. What I'm trying to emphasize are the provisions in the measure that there are enough safeguards. No? Yung ordinary crimes, yung arresting officer need not inform in writing the judge, the nearest judge. He need not inform the CHR. At saka hindi kailangan inform yung Anti-Terrorism Council. But under this measure, dinagdagan pa natin ng mas tougher measures or safeguards na kailangan immediately the police officer who conducted the arrest should inform the nearest judge na meron kaming hinuli rito. When we say immediately, it's not a day after. It is immediately. And by that simple wrongful act of not informing in writing the nearest judge, the policeman who conducted the arrest faces the possibility of getting in prison for 10 years and and be given a perpetual absolute disqualification sa public service. Meaning, hindi siya pwedeng bumalik perpetually or habang buhay siya sa gobyerno, aside from facing a term, prison term of 10 years. Wala yan doon sa violations sa ordinary crimes.
So, explain to us, Senator Ping, why take out that penalty of 500,000 per day for a wrongly accused individual? If you're tough on that, na pag manghuli ho sila, ay kailangan i-inform ka agad yung judge, at eventually, I know, no, sir, sabihin sa inform the CHR as well. Why take out that 500,000 penalty, sir?
Because it's one of the provisions that renders the Human Security Act inutil or severely underutilized, if not a dead letter law. Remember, Pinky, 735 detainees ngayon. We got this from the BJMP, Bureau of Jail Management Bureau. 735 ang detainees, yung tinatawag na yung high risk persons deprived of liberty. Sa 735, mga terrorists ito, mga nahuli sa Marawi, kung saan-saan. But not one of them is facing the crime of violation of the Human Security Act. Ang mga kaso nila, murder, illegal possession of firearms, and then 66 Abu Sayyaf members who are known terrorists were already convicted, but none of them has been convicted under the Human Security Act. Na-convict sila kidnapping, murder. So, ang problema natin, Pinky...
And why is that?
Yeah. Ang problema natin, pagka na-detain sila under ordinary crimes, ang police kasi ayaw mag-file under the Human Security Act kasi natatakot sila pag na-acquit, they will be facing, a suit or penalty of paying back the person that they arrested 500,000 pesos per day of detention kung ma-acquit. So iwas yung mga police natin but the civil liabilities of the police officers, hindi naman nawala yan naandyan pa rin yan, hindi natin in-mention. Yung inarestong suspected terrorist, kung na-abuse siya at may mga damages na na-incur, he can still seek redress from the court and file civil damages against the police officers. Hindi natin inalis yung Pinky.
Alright.
Inalis lang natin yung 500,000 pesos per day of detention.
Apo. Yun pong there's a call, Senator, right now for individuals to write their congressmen at bawiin po yung kanilang yes vote. Please help us understand the situation right now. Maaari pa ho bang mabawi ng ilang congressman yung kanilang mga boto at the House of Representatives para somehow ma-recall po itong anti-terrorism bill. Is that a possibility, sir? Or is this done?
They can sa media, pero sa Congress they cannot because they have already passed the
Congress,
measure of third and final reading. And today, I believe it's today, that the Senate and the House of Representatives will transmit the measure as an enrolled bill. And it is now up to the President to either veto or approve the measure or not act on it and make it just lapse into law after 30 days. So wala na sila magagawa kundi magpamedya na lang na wini-withdraw ng signatures nila.
Okay, very quickly. It's good you clarify this, sir. Ang sinabi po ng isang congressman, the ATC would end up performing the function of the court by ordering the arrest of suspected terrorists, which should be the responsibility of the court. Just again to clarify that, sir. Ang ATC ho ba may kapangyarihan? Okay.
Wala po silang, ang ATC walang judicial and quasi-judicial powers. Yung sinasabi nila, yun yung designated persons na dinesignate na ng United Nations or other jurisdictions na terrorist organization o member ng terrorist organization. Pagdating dito, ang administrative lang yon, Pinky, dahil yung Anti-Terrorism Council will have to coordinate with the Anti-Money Laundering Council para i-freeze yung assets. Hindi sila mag-freeze, hindi sila magpapakulong, kundi i-freeze yung assets ng suspected terrorist organization or declared or designated na terrorist organization para hindi na sila mawalan sila ng wherewithal to commit terrorism in our country.
Yeah.
So once a foreign terrorist comes to the Philippines at designated siya ng United Nations, pwede naman talagang arestuhin yon under this act. And if we have enough evidence to prosecute him here, we may do so. But if not, we will have to just deport that terrorist to the country where he came from.
So also, a very hot topic right now, Senator Ping, ito pong mga rise ng ghost or fake Facebook accounts. Sabi po ni Congressman Zarate, is this a prelude to a crackdown on the anti-terrorism bill? We'll talk about that after the break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to The Source. Senator Ping Lacson, ito pong rise o pagdami ng mga fake o ghost FB accounts, kayo ho ba ay nababahala dito?
Nakakabahala in the sense na pwedeng kasama yun sa scare tactics. For all we know, yung kumukontra niya yung nagpapakalat niyan para matakot yung mga tao by dishing out disinformation. But Pinky, maliwanag naman dito, nakasulat lahat, this is a public document, na pwedeng basahin ng mga tao to see for themselves kung totoo ba yung disinformation, yung mga information lumalabas para ma-influence sila na kumontra rito. So for all we know, sila rin may gawa niyan, part ng scare tactics nila yan, na mag-post sa Facebook o sa social media ng mga panakot. Remember, makakita tayo ng mga nagde-demonstrate, di ba? Activism is terrorism. Where in the world? Ipakita nila sa amin dito sa proposed measure kung ang activism ay terrorism. Yun pa lang po. Tapos sinasabi, no to warrantless arrest. Lahat ng crimes merong warrantless arrest. Umiiral na yan. Wala naman tayong dinagdag. Wala naman tayong binawas. So ito yung mga disinformation campaign na kumakalat ngayon. And kaya nga sabi ko, ibalik ko sa kanila, baka sila rin may gawa niya mga trolls na nananakot, na may mga dadamputin.
All right. Senator, very quickly lang po yung timing. It's always been asked over and over again, but let me just put some factors in. There was no time for amendments at the lower house. Isa po yun because nga the President certified this as urgent at inadapt po yung Senate version. Sabi po ni Vice President Leni Robredo, it should follow the correct process. No railroading. If you railroad it, why? And then, sir, questions on alleged human rights violations due to the war on drugs, alleged abuses during the lockdown. Sir, all this coming together, what do you tell the public? And then now we have this anti-terrorism bill.
Let's go to the basics. Yung nasa law, yung mga provisions, yung mga safeguards. While the proposed measure may be tough, but we inputted even tougher safeguards which are not present doon sa mga ordinary crimes na part na ng law of the land. No? Yung railroading, inipisa namin sa Senate ito, Pinky, I think October 2018, 17 Congress pa. And
Right.
then it went through, so many days of interpellation, period of amendment, and so forth and so on.
Okay. Ito na lang po yung siguro mabilis lang po sa COVID-19 government's response, sir. All these controversies surrounding Secretary Duque, such as, sir, yung lumabas nga sa Senado, hindi nabayaran kaagad yung mga health workers na dapat makatanggap ng 1 million doon po sa pamilya ng namatay, 100,000 doon sa severely affected, yung pong first wave, second wave, and all these other issues, OFW, sir. Is Senator Francisco Duque still fit to be head of the Department of Health?
Well, I don't see him to be fit and qualified or competent enough to continuously head the department. That's why 40 senators, including myself, called for his resignation. And I think our in his leadership style. So I think he should just go for the sake of the victims of the pandemic, for the sake of the department.
All right. Senator Panfilo, Ping Lacson, sir, it's good to talk to you. Take care, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.